Thanks for those who have waited and braved the cold. So as you've heard, I was in Gaza last year, so I thought I'd give you a brief description of the healthcare system and how things were when I got there. So obviously there was huge devastation and destruction when I arrived. The hospitals really were full of essentially what they called refugees. They were patients and people who would have been living in and around the hospital or in their own homes, who were actually hiding inside the hospitals, inside tents, because their houses had been destroyed, they had nowhere to live, or they came with their children or their families who were injured, and then they just set up camp there because they didn't have anywhere to go or anywhere to live. The hospitals themselves were on their knees, and so when I went there, I was in South Gaza, in the European Gaza hospital, and that was at that time the only functioning hospital in the south of Gaza. But even then, when I'm saying functioning, it was barely functioning. There was hardly any medical equipment. CT scanners were functioning partially. In terms of operating, like I'm sure many of you have heard, children, we didn't have anesthetics. Often children were getting operated on or having their procedures done before they even arrived to the hospital. When they arrived to the hospital, often they were in a serious state. Now, this is just the children I'm talking about who were injured or had direct war injuries. Many children were there who didn't have direct war injuries, had indirect injuries as well, or were developing infections from malnutrition, their immune system not functioning adequately. So the war itself has a lot of direct, we know there's tens of thousands of children who have died from direct injuries from these war injuries. But there's probably hundreds of thousands who are actually suffering from other diseases that they really shouldn't be, due to the blockade on aid, blockade on food, blockade on water, medicines. It's nearly impossible to get hold of the medicines that you need. You often have to choose alternative medicines that are not optimum. So I think one of the things before I left, I was trying to collect money to take with me to Gaza, to buy supplies, and I think the people of Birmingham were really generous, and thank you very much for all your help. But what can we do while we're here? We can obviously keep going on the marches, making sure we donate, making sure we boycott, we divest from it, and making sure that our voices are heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.